Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Inside the Mirror podcast. I'm your host, Kyle David, and today I have someone with me from the Northwest, from Oregon. Miss Julie Allen is with us today. Julie, thanks for being here.
Hello, I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I'm happy to have you. I'm very intrigued. Like we just said, there's so much to talk about. You're a very intriguing person from just reading your bio. There's a lot there. You have a lot to offer. So I'm just excited to dive in. So I won't take up too much time. I just want to go into kind of, if you could give us a brief, 4 to 7, 8 minutes, kind of who you are, where you came from, and kind of what life has looked like, and bring us to today. How about that?
All right, I can do all that in 4 minutes. No, sorry.
You'd be a master if you did.
Right. So my name is Julie, and I currently am the CEO at a cute little clothing boutique called Mary Rose Boutique, and also the founder of a nonprofit called the Mary Rose Foundation. Our boutique is size inclusive. We promote like body celebration. Our whole mission is to have people in all bodies love and accept themselves as they are, right? So I wanted to provide the safe space for people to come and shop, right? We are online, but we also have a really cute little brick and mortar store in the Portland, Oregon area. And then, so our foundation is the Mary Rose Foundation, and that helps fund people's treatment for eating disorders. So I struggled with anorexia and bulimia for about 15 years growing up. Yeah, a long time. I've been in recovery for a little over 10 years now. And that was literally hell, right? Like I was probably 10 or so when I started with the eating disorder, and just in and out of treatment my entire teenage years into my early 20s, just constantly in and out. And there came a point when I realized like I could not do that anymore, or I was going to die, right? Anorexia actually has the highest mortality rate of all mental illness. Really? And it's actually up to 20% of people die from a lot. And a good portion of them die from suicide, which is like huge red flag, right? Like eating disorders are not what they appear to be on the surface, right? Like they're not about weight. They're not about food. They're a mental illness, right? Like there's a lot of things that go into it. And treatment for an eating disorder is so incredibly expensive. We're talking between $1,400 and $2,200 a day for a residential treatment.
Good Lord.
Yeah. Like who can access that?
Sure.
Nobody. And like I recognize I had a lot of privilege growing up, right? Like my parents, like we didn't have a lot of money, but they still, like I had insurance. And my parents, they took out a second mortgage on their house to pay for my treatment. And I am so fortunate that they did that, because I honestly don't think I would be here today if they, did not do that to save my life, basically. And it's really sad to me how inaccessible treatment is. So long story short, our foundation now works to fund treatment for people suffering with eating disorders. And we also, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. This year is our first year of launching our education program. Like it's like an outreach program for our local high school. We eventually want to get into the middle school as well, but it's basically like a young women, people identifying as women, like empowerment, because we can do all this work to fund treatment for people with eating disorders, but we've got to hit the prevention side as well. Like, especially after the year we've had, right? Like young kids especially are really, well, all of us, I shouldn't say especially, all of us are really struggling with mental health. And so this year in October is actually when we're set to start our program for the foundation. So we'll be in the local school, doing like a at lunch program, like a club kind of thing, focused on empowerment and just teaching these young people how to love and accept themselves, and in turn love and accept other people too, because that's huge. So anyways, was that 4 minutes? Did I do great?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't care. I love it. So like I said earlier, I kind of wanted to just dive right into some things I picked up reading your bio. So tell us a little bit. So a sustainability awareness activist, that's from your bio. Can you kind of break down what that is and where that came from and kind of how that ties into your passion for helping others?
Yeah. So I own a clothing boutique, and we are almost in our fourth year of business. And we started online only and then
Mhm.
moved into our brick and mortar about a year or so after opening, not quite a year. And then COVID happened, last
Mm,
last March-ish,
mm,
and our store shut down. And like I said, we're in
mm.
Oregon, and Oregon, Portland specifically, has had pretty strict COVID guidelines throughout the pandemic. And so we were online only for almost 6 months, I'm gonna
Oh,
say.
wow.
Thankfully, like, what we ended up doing, saved our business, right? Like, we totally switched gears into this fast fashion is kind of the buzzword for it, fast fashion model, right? So
Mhm.
we were, doing lives constantly, like over Facebook and Instagram, and just like selling so many clothes. And on it saved our business, right? Like,
Mm.
our business survived because of fast fashion. But what I realized was we ended up getting a warehouse actually as well,
Mm.
and a warehouse because we had so much stuff and we couldn't open the actual storefront until we, kind of got a handle on all the stuff. So we
Mhm.
ended up getting a warehouse. And I remember it was December, January of this last 2020, and I walked into our warehouse and I looked around, and it was like row after row after row of clothes that
Mhm.
were honestly cheaply made, and plastic was everywhere,
Hmm.
everywhere, right? So they come in these boxes. All the clothes, they come in giant boxes, right? Shipped by UPS or FedEx or whatever.
Mhm.
But then they're all individually wrapped in plastic
Sure.
and then on a plastic hanger.
Mm.
And I remember just thinking, I was like, this is so much trash. Like, we actually did not have enough. We didn't have enough space in the garbage at the warehouse. So we had like a corner of like plastic
Hmm.
because we couldn't, like, it wouldn't all fit in the trash can.
Mhm.
And at
Wow.
that point, I was like, what the hell is like, what is this? And it was just like the status quo. Like, of course, all of it comes in plastic.
Sure.
And it was at that moment that I was like, I had no idea what I was going to do differently, but I was like, we cannot keep doing this.
Mm.
Like, first of all, it's cheaply made clothes. Humans are behind those clothes. Like, machines don't
Mm.
make clothes.
Mm.
Like, a person made your clothes.
Mm.
And if a shirt costs $3, like, how much logically, how much did the person who made it get paid?
Mm.
Right? Like, there were
Right.
a lot of really painful truths that I
Mm.
had to realize I was a problem. Like,
Mm.
what I was doing was contributing to these problems, right? Like, we were on, and we still are on this mission of empowering people in all bodies to love and accept themselves, right?
I love it.
Yes, but let me tell you that in the sustainability, like ethical fashion world, hardly exists in extended sizing.
Hmm.
Like, yeah. So then I started researching. I was like, okay, we're going to go to like more natural materials, things not, made of plastic. And
Mhm.
because clothes are made of plastic too, polyester
Mhm.
is a form of plastic. And so I started researching, like, okay, eco-friendly, sustainable, size inclusive clothes.
Mhm.
Guess what? It
Hmm.
hardly exists.
Really?
I kid you not. Like, I have spent the last 7 months, like, literally beating my head against a computer screen trying to find, like,
Hmm.
eco-friendly, sustainable clothes and extended sizing.
Mhm.
I've maybe 5 brands. Like, I'm
Really?
yes, it is terrible. It is terrible. So we're making our own. Long story short, we're making our own,
Okay.
set to
Let's
launch in
go.
spring, because I'm like, this is stupid.
Uh-huh.
This is stupid because people in all bodies, like, deserve to be dressed in good things.
Sure.
Yeah. So anyways, there's a lot to the sustainability of
Mhm.
fashion that people generally don't really realize. Like, I owned a boutique for 4 years and I didn't know. I
Mhm.
didn't understand, like, polyester is plastic. I didn't
Mhm.
understand it takes 500 years for a piece of polyester to break down in a landfill.
Good
I did
Lord.
Oh, it's so bad. And you know what? the average American throws away 81 pounds of clothes a year.
What?
Throws it away.
81 pounds?
Pounds of clothes. We
Oh
live in this like
goodness. That's
overconsumption,
terrible.
throwaway culture, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we
And
do.
so now I'm trying to change it.
Hmm.
So here I am, little old me, just trying to change it because I'm like, do you not know? Like
Hmm.
people in other countries that are making our clothes are not being treated well. Like
Sure.
not only not being treated well, like there is a lot of crime happening in these factories
I'm
because
sure.
like, and they don't get paid for working overtime, and like it's just because they can't keep up with the demand, right?
Sure.
So yeah, overconsumption, not good.
Hmm. Do we
Plastic,
don't you think do you think it has to do with just us living in this little bubble of America where we just don't even think outside of it?
we don't see outside of ourselves now, do we?
Yep.
And
Yep.
I feel like the pandemic played a huge role in our switch on a business level to slow fashion.
Mm,
Because what I realized throughout this entire year, and on a business level and on a personal level, is like the actions of one impact us all,
mm. So
right?
true.
Like what I do will impact this next person and this next person and this next person. And like we saw that so clearly with the pandemic. And unfortunately, it really, or fortunately, I'm not quite sure yet, brought to light how selfish, horribly selfish our society is. And like
Preach.
I'm not going to be a part of that. Like
Mm,
the actions of one impact us all. So I'm going to do my damn part to like make
mm.
this a better place because it's ridiculous.
I love that. I love what you keep saying. The actions of one affect us all. That's
Yeah,
almost like that's just a mission statement,
isn't
right?
it?
It is.
It is. Yeah. I don't think it's ever been more clear. And
Mm,
yeah, the pandemic has brought a lot of very bad things,
sure.
obviously. Like it's been horrible. But I will say that has been a positive. It's like
Hmm.
that slowing down and like getting outside of yourself. Like,
Mm,
I mean, I don't know if we're the most selfish culture, but I would put us very high up there
hmm.
on selfish
I'd
and just,
agree.
yeah, like everything is me, 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 me.
Yeah,
And
it really is.
I don't want to be a part of that anymore.
I'm so with you. I'm so
Yeah.
with you on that.
Yeah, done. Just done with that. So
Yeah. Well, kudos to you, first of all, for being someone that's going, not only am I personally going to make a change, but like even my business is going to. Has it affected your bottom line? I mean, it has to, going from fast fashion, which is
oh
consumerism.
my gosh. Yes. Oh my gosh. So my husband and I run the business together.
Uh-huh.
And when I was telling him, I was going off one day. This was probably February or so of last year, January,
Let's
February, what,
go.
it's all a blur. And I was like,
Sure.
this is bad. We can't do this anymore. And he looked at me and he was like, you know, you're risking the entire business, right? I was
Mm,
like, don't care, will not be part of the problem anymore. And so yes, we lost, oh gosh, I think we kept one vendor out
mm.
of, we probably had 30 vendors that we were working with.
Wowzers.
Yeah. And then we've kept
Hmm.
one vendor. So I broke relationships, 3-4 year long relationships with vendors
Hmm.
that I'm like, well, okay, well, what's your clothes made out of?
Hmm.
Polyester. Okay, well, bye. Like, I don't,
Hmm.
yeah. And we lost probably 70-80% of our customer base. So yeah,
Wow.
it has been a year. It has been a year of rebuilding and just trying to find
Mm,
that new thing. So yeah, it's been hard. It's been really, really hard. Like I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's been
sure.
tough. Um, but I expected it and it's worth it to me. Like
Mm,
that's the thing about change is like it's not going to be easy and you have to do it anyways because it's the right thing to do.
mm.
Like if
That's
no
it right there.
yeah, if nobody stands up to the issues at large, like
Hmm.
things are just going to stay the same. And I don't really want them to stay the same.
Mhm. We
Yeah.
can't just remain going, well, that's kind of the status quo. It's how we do things, right? We
Mhm.
we get our clothes this way. We wear it's all right. It doesn't really matter because that's how we do it. I
Yep.
think real change in the world starts with courage, with
Yeah.
somebody going, I'm going to take the
Yeah.
reins. I'm going to have the courage to make change. And you can follow me or you can't, but I'm going
Yep.
to do the right thing. That's what
Yep.
I'm hearing from you. And I
That's
think
so
it's really encouraging.
yeah, thank you. Thank you. We have a wonderful, wonderful team too. Like I
Good.
have our manager and assistant manager, just our entire team is amazing. And on the boutique side and then on the foundation side too, like we've got a great
Mhm.
director of education and like it's just it really gives me hope. Like, cause I mean, I've got 2 little kids too, right? Like a 1-year-old
Oh,
and a
okay.
4-year-old. Oh my gosh, seriously, during
Nice.
a pandemic.
Oh,
And,
wow. Yeah. That's a
enough said.
lot.
Enough said. So yeah, we have a really great solid team, and they really inspire me because they also believe in what we're doing. And
Mhm.
I was meeting with our manager and assistant manager last week or a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about our goals, right? We were like, okay, our first goal is this, second goal is another storefront, third goal, world domination. Like, we're done.
Go for it. Shoot
These
for the
females are
stars.
about to run the world. I hope.
Look, I'm all about it. My mother's the greatest alive, so I believe in women. I think women have a I don't like to pit the genders against each other, but women
Yeah.
have a different kind of capacity that sometimes us men do not have. It just is what it is.
It
If
is
your
what it
guys are
is.
listening, I'm sorry. You'll be
Yeah.
fine. Yeah, you'll survive. The truth is the
Uh,
truth. So
yeah.
talk about the foundation a little bit. I'm very interested in kind of like your story of overcoming challenge. And it sounds like just through COVID and with your business, you are just somebody that's had challenge throughout life and always learned how to overcome. So I'd just be interested to hear kind of like whatever you want to share,
Mhm.
what that story looked like, how you overcame it, and then how that turned into a foundation now to give back.
Yeah. So, like I said, I struggled with anorexia and bulimia for about 15 years growing up,
Mm,
which is a very, very long time in hindsight. It's
it
like that
is.
a very long time. And, I was in and out of treatment, in and out of the hospital, in and out of residential treatment, which is like where you go away to live, right?
Mhm,
And there was one point, like I self-injured and just like it was
mm,
just, I was just a mess, right?
mm,
And there was a point when I was in my early 20s at this point, and this is when I decided to like actually recover because when I was put in treatment prior to this, like I was under 18. And
mm,
so it was not my choice to go in, right? It was my parents' choice. Like, you are going to die, like you are going to the hospital right now, right?
mhm,
And so by this point, I was like 20 maybe or so. And I remember I was babysitting my cousins who were just over 1 year old, twin girls, just over
mhm,
one. And then my 4-year old cousin who was disabled and he's since
mm,
passed away. He passed away when he
I'm
was,
sorry.
oh, it was horrible. He was 6 or so when he passed away, right?
Mm,
And but he could never talk. Like, he'd never
mm,
typically developed, right? And
mhm,
I was babysitting them. I had no business babysitting them, but I was. And I remember, like, I had eaten something and I locked myself in the bathroom with 2 1-year-olds and a 4-year-old who was disabled. And I locked myself in that bathroom for a good 30 minutes, right? Because I ate something. And I was like, well, I ate something. I got to purge. Like, that's
mhm,
what you do when you were so in your eating disorder or so in your addiction or whatever, whatever your thing is, right? And I remember Matthew was my 4-year-old nephew, and he was, or cousin, he was banging on the door, right? And he
mhm,
couldn't say anything, but I just was like, "It's okay,
mhm,
buddy. I'll be out in a minute. I'll be out in a minute." And before I went out of the bathroom, I remember just looking at myself in the mirror and being like, "Who the hell are
mm,
you?"
mm,
Like, I was so like, that was not me.
mhm,
And it was at that point when I was like, I cannot do this anymore. Like, I love those kids more than anything. Like, those were my babies at that, I love those kids, and I was putting them in danger, right? Like, 1-year-olds, like, I have a 1-year-old. Are you kidding? Like, you don't leave that kid alone for a second. Like, who knows what he'll do? And, yeah, it was at that point when I was like, I can't do this. Like, I don't know that person anymore. Like,
Mm,
that person is not me, and I don't want to be that person. I
mm,
don't like her. Like,
mm,
that's not okay.
mm,
And so it was maybe a month or so after that that I checked myself in to a residential
mm.
treatment facility.
Good
And
for
I stayed
you.
there for, yeah, about 3 months I was there, and it was actually up in Canada,
Mm,
because it was more accessible treatment or
mm. Yep.
financially. Um, but yeah, that was the moment that I really was like, I need to recover, because
Hmm.
I don't know who that person is, and I don't like that person. That's not who I
Hmm.
want to be.
Hmm.
And yeah, that was my beginning of recovery right there. And yeah,
Love
that
it.
was 10, 15 years ago at this point. And, it's been up and down ever since then, of course, like recovery
Hmm.
is. But it will never go back. Just,
Mm,
how you get to that point when you're just like, I can't do that anymore. Like, that's
I
just
do.
not gonna happen. And so, yeah, anyways, I had the boutique first, and then
Hmm.
I wanted to do a fashion show for the boutique, and I
Hmm.
wanted to make it like a fundraiser.
Mm,
It's like, okay, we'll do a silent auction and we'll make it a fundraiser. And so I was like, what am I passionate about? Like, who do I
hmm.
want to raise money for? And I was like, oh, passionate about eating disorder treatment and prevention.
Hmm.
So I was looking up a bunch of nonprofits, and I couldn't really find one that I wanted to work with.
Hmm.
So I decided to open my own.
There you
And here
go.
we are. It's like the 3-4 years later, it's like, okay, now we have our own nonprofit too. And I'm very, very proud of the nonprofit. Like, that's kind of,
It's amazing.
it's what keeps me going on hard days, because like you said, like, how has that affected your business? Oh,
Hmm.
horribly, right? Like,
Hmm.
switching to
Yeah,
sustainable fashion has been brutal on the business.
sure.
But like, I'm not going to give up, because in 2020 we were able to give out 3 scholarships to people that needed
Nice.
treatment. Yeah, and that was because
Amazing.
of the support from the boutique. So a
Hmm.
portion of all sales at the boutique go straight to the foundation.
Oh,
Uh,
okay, great.
yeah, and so yeah, it keeps me going on those hard days, is the foundation.
I love
So
it. I
yeah,
love that. That's for me, what I hear there throughout a lot of it is first of all, persistence, right? Because 15 years of being in it and then 15 years of being out of it, like that's a
yeah,
30-year window of having that in your life, whether you had removed it
yeah,
fully or you were deep in it.
right,
But
right.
also something you I think you keep saying that I'm hearing is your heart is to put people over profit, right?
Mm,
Is you care more
yeah,
about the people making those clothes than the money you could make from them, right? If you didn't switch your business model. And that's a rare thing in this society, like we said, of consumerism and profit over everything.
yeah,
Success is only achieved when you make a lot of money.
right,
We
right.
have to change that.
We
That's
do.
not what success is. Being
It's not.
successful is not making money. It's just
No.
not.
Yeah, I was doing some reading, and it was like, it's great to start your own business. Like,
100%.
I am an entrepreneur. Like, that's
Same.
what I exactly. But people have to be like, you have to have doing good somewhere
Yeah,
in your model. I mean, that's my opinion, but
I agree.
it's what's the point if
Right.
you aren't doing something good with what you're doing?
Hmm.
Like,
Because then the point's just profit. It's just
yeah,
how can we build this to make enough money or make a lot
right,
of money? Because if
right,
there's no purpose, as you know, I think we have all heard in our life, you have to remember your why. And if
yeah,
your why isn't rooted in something that has purpose,
yep,
then your why is probably profit,
yep.
right? And
It's
then
true.
that corrupts at some point.
Yeah, that's pretty evident this last
Right. See, we've seen it in real
Exhibit
time.
A, America.
Hmm.
Right?
Hmm.
Like, it's completely consumerism, and
Yeah.
it leads to exploitation of people,
Yeah.
humans. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like we're forgetting that, like, no, humans do that.
Hmm.
People,
Right.
human beings. And like with the pandemic, right? Like over 4 million people have died. Humans. Like, okay, maybe not here, maybe nobody you know, but it's like, okay, 4 million human beings. And that, I mean, it's just going to keep going if we keep going the way we're going. And I just, it's, I just want to like shake America. Like,
Right.
say that.
Right.
Yeah.
But it
Sorry.
goes back. No, don't be sorry.
Yeah.
This is where we're at in the world, and
Okay.
we have to be able to candidly talk about it. I think the problem we've noticed in 2020 and even moving in now is that we can't candidly have conversations because people are so polarized. They
Yeah.
don't want to listen, right?
Yeah.
It's okay to disagree, but you
Mhm.
have to listen. You'll never learn if you don't listen,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
like you, even with the sustainability of clothes, like you just didn't know until you knew, but you
Yes.
probably
Exactly.
didn't learn until you listened. I don't think you
Yes.
just learned out of the blue. Like you had to take the time to research, listen,
Yeah.
go and then look at yourself and go, what am I contributing to something that's not positive? That's where I think we're at in the world is we need to be more
Yeah.
like you and go, are we contributing to good things or negative things? And be open to going, maybe I'm not contributing to a positive environment. It's
Right.
nothing that maybe it may have been even subconscious. So we
Yep.
don't have to beat ourselves up. We just need to
Right.
become better.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. That's Yeah, that's it. It's like listen, learn, do better.
Right.
It really is that simple.
Right.
And
It's a
it's
simple formula.
yeah, and I actually tell my 4-year-old this all the time. I was like,
Mhm.
buddy, you can't talk and listen at the same time.
Mhm.
Right. And people, I mean, we see it a lot on social media, especially. It's like, well, really everywhere, but primarily I see it a lot on social media. It's like people are
Oh
just like
yeah.
so dig their heels in and talk, 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 talk.
Mhm.
And again, that's like my 4-year-old. I mean, he's
Mhm.
4 though, so it's
He
developmentally
gets a
appropriate.
pass.
Right, he gets a pass here, but I'm damn sure I'm holding him accountable though. It's like, buddy, you
Yeah.
gotta listen.
Right.
Like nothing is gonna change if you don't stop and listen.
Mhm.
And I just feel like we're trying to tell that to 40-year-olds now too.
That's so true.
So,
That is where we're at.
yep, that's where we're at. Yep.
So as far as like, so I read in your bio that your sustainability, you're not just, this isn't a marketing play. This isn't a,
No.
oh, we're sustainable. Your bio even said you're sustainable now down to the hangers that
Yes.
you put clothes on.
Yes.
Like
Our
you are
garbage
all
bags.
in.
Like we switched our garbage bags. I mean, it's definitely a process. Like
Uh-huh.
taking 4 years of fast fashion and trying to switch everything over. It's going to take some time. But
Sure.
yeah, we are definitely slowly making things like our packaging is our next thing on our list, right? Like
Uh-huh.
I want to make our biodegradable
Mm,
packaging that we send out our clothes in. So that's next on our list. But we did the hangers, we just did the garbage bags, and
nice.
yeah, it has to. It
Yeah.
has to. It's like it just has to.
I love it. It's funny because my sister and I have been on kind of this journey of more just health wise of learning like about all the toxins in
Oh my
things
gosh.
and our dishwasher soap and our detergents and deodorants and toothpaste and oh my goodness.
Okay, about to blow your mind again too. So a lot, like I don't remember the percentage exactly, but a huge portion of clothing is made out of polyester,
Yeah, you
right?
said
So
that. Yeah.
polyester is that synthetic material. I mean, it's super soft and it doesn't wrinkle. So that's the first reason that kind of polyester got big, but it's also
Hmm.
cheap. So
Hmm.
every time you wash something with polyester in it, microplastics into the ocean. These little
Great.
tiny I know. Like, great. So now I can't wash my clothes anymore. No, but don't get polyester and you're okay. But yeah, it's like
Wow.
things are just everywhere.
Yeah, that's so it's wild to think about. We live in a toxic world in
So
many
toxic,
different reasons.
right? Down to our deodorant
It's
and
crazy.
washing your clothes, right?
How do we how do we reverse that? I mean, I know it
Mhm.
has to start somewhere. I guess it
Yeah,
just starts with us, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So it comes down to being more mindful and more intentional about the things that we are purchasing.
Mm.
How do I say this? What's before millennials? The Gen Z or
Oh,
whatever.
the baby boomers, or
No,
no,
I
there's
meant
an
the
in
other way.
between.
The younger
Oh,
people,
Gen Z. Yeah.
the youngins. They've
The
See,
zennials.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
It's like the throwaway culture, right? Like they were just
Hmm.
raised in that. Like,
Yeah.
but also I have to give that Gen Z a lot of props because they
Mm.
have done a lot of work with like thrifting and
Mm. Hmm.
they are like, I actually really love that generation. They
I do
are
too.
very passionate humans that really like they want to know what's behind what they're doing. Like,
Hmm.
what am I buying? And like where they really, I love that generation.
Hmm.
My point in saying that was they've always grown up in this like throwaway overconsumption culture, right? Like
Yeah.
probably caused by millennials, honestly.
Yeah.
And so it starts with like being super intentional and mindful about what we're buying, right? Like the goal,
Hmm.
whenever I buy a piece now, it's like my goal is to be able to wear that piece 30 times.
Mm.
If I'm going to pick something out, I want to know, like, can I wear that 30 times? Do
Mm.
I
That's
love
good.
it that much?
Hmm.
Right. And so a lot of the problem is people want a lot of clothes, but they want them for really cheap.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to get people to do is buy fewer pieces
Hmm.
that are more expensive.
Hmm.
But that way, everybody in the supply chain got paid a fair and living wage,
Hmm.
and the actual product is good for the environment, right?
Hmm.
Like it's not made of polyester, it's made of natural materials, and it's there's a lot to it, but it really starts with
Hmm.
being more mindful and more intentional about what we're buying.
Mm. Those two words there are very interesting. Mindful and intentional.
Yeah.
I think those are transferable not just to what we purchase, but to the
Mm-hmm.
way we approach anything in life, right?
Absolutely.
Is being more
Absolutely.
mindful. We're such a fast-paced society.
We are. Yep.
I think we forget to be intentional with the people that we interact with, whether it's at the grocery store or or your deliveries from whatever it may be. Just being intentional in your life and not going so fast that you don't realize the important things, right? Whether it's polyester in your clothes or the person that was frowning in line at the store that needed a smile. Like those two things that you said, mindfulness and intentionality, go a long ways.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, I mean, I keep bringing up this last year, but
Hmm.
it really forced us to stop. And it
Hmm.
really forced us to become,
You're fine.
sorry, that was my 4-year-old.
I
Um,
love it. This is
mm,
I always tell people the podcast is authentic, so I like it.
I was like,
Sometimes my
"River,
cat climbs in
help."
here. It's
Okay.
fine. It adds to the podcast.
Uh,
Tell him say hi.
right. Okay. If he does that again, I'll tell him.
Yeah,
Hey.
tell him come over.
I forgot what I was saying now. Sorry. But
No, just the
just,
mindfulness and the thoughtfulness of
yeah.
our intentionality in life, right?
Right. And how this last year forced us to stop and how
Yeah,
that was a good thing.
I think
That
so
was a
too.
very good thing because the pace that we were going at, just
Hmm.
as a society, was brutal. I remember my our photographer that we work with the boutique. Like, I
Mhm.
remember talking to her maybe February of 2020, and she was like, "Oh, I shot 14 days in a row," and she just looked exhausted, right? And it was just, yeah, that's just the pace, and
Hmm.
that's the status quo, and it's time to disrupt
Hmm.
that. So,
I 100% agree.
yeah.
I even in my own life have realized over the past year that I have had to slow down, and my
Mhm.
life has gotten exponentially better from just slowing down,
Absolutely. Yep.
looking around. Not, I'm still very task oriented, like you are
Mhm.
too, entrepreneurial. So there's always ideas, but just
Yeah.
creating space to just be still has
Yep.
been life changing, because that's where
Absolutely.
I think sometimes the ideas, I don't know about you, but the ideas that I have that are like, oh, this could be impactful for people, that
Right.
usually those ideas usually come in my quieter times.
Yep.
When I'm going so fast, I'm not thinking about others as much or thinking about the
Right.
impact my actions are having. I'm just
Mhm.
going, right?
Yeah.
And when I slow
Yeah.
down, I'm able to be more aware of other people, of myself, of my thoughts, my feelings. Like we have to slow down.
And you know what's interesting is I used to be really afraid to slow down
Mm,
because I did not want to sit with myself.
that's
And
powerful.
yeah, and you know, I can still fall into that trap sometimes. Like if
Sure.
I catch myself like filling up my plate with busy,
Mhm,
right? Like nothing really impactful, but just like, oh, I have to do, you know, just tasks, right? Like just busy work.
mhm,
It's like, okay, what am I avoiding? Like,
mm,
why don't I want to stop?
mm.
And so that's been really helpful to me is to realize that like when I am just going, I'm usually trying to avoid something and I'm usually
Ooh,
avoiding sitting with myself in some way. Just
that's
sit.
really good.
Yeah.
I
You know,
mean, that's
20 years of
powerful.
therapy will do that to you.
Hmm. You become a, non-certified psychologist.
That's right.
I get it. I think that's really powerful though. Being able to sit with yourself
Hmm.
and realizing when you're avoiding yourself,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. And there's all these distractions.
Hmm.
Um, that are everywhere, right? Like
Sure.
even with social media and our phones and everything, it's like, what are we avoiding?
Mm, hmm.
And
Yeah,
there's
we're just filling the voids.
feeling it, yeah, and that seems to be a whole societal thing.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I don't know how long that's been going on. I know it's not good now,
Right.
but yeah, it's definitely interesting perspective, I think.
Right. I think it's
Mhm.
powerful that you said that though. I hope somebody listening takes that to heart and goes, am I am I able to sit with myself or am I running from myself?
Yeah,
I think that's something, yeah, if you're
right,
listening, think about that.
yeah.
Are you running from yourself? And answer yourself honestly, right? Like
It's
you got to be
okay.
honest with yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's no judgment. Like, and that's the other thing. It's like, oh, wait, I'm running from myself and now I'm blah, 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 blah. No, don't judge yourself.
Right. Right.
Like, it's okay. We've all, well, I can't say we've all, but I'm assuming we've all been there, you know?
Sure.
And there's no shame. There's no
Mm-mm.
shame in it. Like, I'm tired of shame and I'm tired of
Right.
judgment. Like,
Right.
you are where you are, and that's okay.
Hmm. I saw a quote yesterday. Something along the lines of, "Loving people is hard, therefore we default to judgment."
Mm-hmm.
Convicting,
Ouch. Yeah,
right?
that one's painful.
Right?
Yep. So true
Because,
though.
right?
Absolutely.
Loving
Yeah.
people is difficult, but it's the right thing to do. Just like running a sustainable business is difficult, but it still may be the right thing to do.
Mhm.
So, which do we choose? Do we choose the right thing, or do we choose the thing that's more convenient?
Right.
Right? It's easier to judge people, so I'll just judge. It's easier to do fast, so I'll just do fast.
Yep.
But is it the right thing?
Right.
Hmm.
I really hope more and more people like whatever it is for them in their own life, right? Like
Hmm.
really assess that. Like what
Hmm.
is the right thing to do? Because it's
Hmm.
different for everybody. You
Sure.
know, we all have a different way of showing up in this world. Um, but we do need to start being there more for other people, I think.
100%.
Yeah.
So about your boutique. So
Mhm.
we talked earlier, and I want to up you a little bit and give you some props because you won let me get this correct. You were the best online boutique in Oregon,
Mhm.
correct?
Mhm.
In the
Yep.
middle of the pandemic, is that
Oh, in
accurate?
the middle of the pandemic, yes, indeed. Yep.
How did you do that? Like, what was the what? Because I'm
Yeah.
sure Oregon is a very creative place. Like, I'm sure you have lots of other boutiques that are probably just working just as hard as you, wanting to be the best. Hey, we got a visitor.
Evie, you wanna say hi?
Say hello.
Say hi? Come here.
I'm sure you have something to say.
All right.
Hey, buddy. How are you?
You can talk to me. It's okay. What do you want to
You
say?
doing good?
These are his safety gloves, is what he calls them.
I
He's
love
very
it.
safe with them on. Yes.
I love it.
All right. Okay.
Stay
All
safe, man.
right. I love you, buddy.
I told you this.
He's great. That was beautiful. We're gonna clip it and put it out to the internet.
He is a good little guy. He's
Good.
funny. He's a funny little kid for sure. Yeah.
Kids are a blessing,
Yes, they are. They
right?
are.
They're innocent. There's an innocence there.
Yes. Yeah. He's a handful, but yeah, he's a good little kid.
I'm
So,
sure.
yeah. I'm sorry. What were you saying? Yes,
Oh, yeah,
2020 in the pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. How do we do that? Oh, we showed up for the community.
Mm,
We so we were closed, right? Like our storefront was closed. And so we did
right.
a lot of online, just like talking to people. And so we were on lives a lot on Facebook and Instagram and just really tried to be there for our community. That's kind of how we did it. We just had to,
I
we
love
showed
it.
up.
Amazing how when you show up for other people, good things happen, right?
Right.
Like it's what a wild thought
Yeah.
that helping others would be good.
It is. It is. So it is. It really like, it definitely comes back to you, you know?
Right. Right.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
As far as like, so the foundation obviously is something that you're passionate about. The boutique is what you're passionate about. What's kind of the vision and how do you see those things coming together and moving forward? What's kind of your vision for those?
Yeah, so we are working on our own sustainable size inclusive line. It is called
Let's go.
it's called Hope Continues, and it's set to launch in spring of 2022. And so my vision is to have like capsule wardrobes, like 5 pieces that people can wear in multiple different ways. Like we're really, I'm really about that like minimalist, like kind of like lifestyle just in general. And so we're creating like capsule wardrobes that are done sustainably and done ethically. For our goal is to make sizes extra small through 6X. I'm hoping that we can swing that at the get-go. It's a matter of cost at that point, right?
Sure.
But yeah, our vision is to develop our own line and really just kind of start to expand from there. Because like it has to change the fact that like there is not really any sustainable and ethically made clothes in extended sizing. Like I just, that's like such a mind blow to me. It's like,
Sure.
okay, well, why is that? I'm like, oh, you want to know why it is actually? It's because of diet culture. You know what diet culture is? It equates living in a smaller body to moral superiority, right? And so obviously people that live in larger bodies don't care about sustainability, right? Like it was such a, oh my gosh moment. So I was like, well,
sounds silly when you say it.
yeah, it's like, screw that status quo. We're going to disrupt that one too. So yes, the goal is to get our own line launched and then just slowly kind of build out the boutique and hopefully get our line in other parts of the country as well. Whether that's in our boutique, but probably not, probably in other boutiques across the country. So that's the goal. That's the goal. Hope Continues is the line.
Hope Continues. I love that.
Thank you.
You're a very purpose-driven person, I can tell.
I am very purpose-driven. Yes. Thank you.
I think that's important in life and I know a lot of people that unfortunately sometimes do deal with mental health issues, and a lot of it comes down to feeling like they don't have a purpose.
Right.
And they don't know why they're here or what gifts they have.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is just showing people that, and just like you're saying with different sizes of like, everybody is unique and special, no matter what.
Yes.
There's no one born. I mean, obviously we could pick out small people like, oh, Hitler or whatever, but like the majority of people born have a purpose and are unique and special and should be loved and treated as such.
Absolutely.
And that's what you're doing, is making sure that not only are we taking care of people we don't see, right? The supply chain way over here, but we're also taking care of the people that you service and the people that may not have again, there is no sustainable lines for certain women.
Yeah.
And you're going, I'm going to care for the people I don't see and the
Right.
people I do see.
That is the goal. That is absolutely the goal. Yeah, no, and I'm here for it. Like it, things have to change, and we're not going to we're not going to see change if we don't take steps.
Mm,
And
mm,
you know, I understand that it is a big undertaking, right? Like trying to shine light on all these different issues in the world of fashion. And I mean, it's a huge industry,
yeah.
huge industry. But I don't want to, I'm realistic too. It's like, I know I'm not going to change the whole thing, but it has to start somewhere. And it starts with one person being like, this is not okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, do you see this over here?
Mm-hmm.
That's not okay. Like, that is a
Mm-hmm.
human being.
Mm,
And it's so easy for us to forget that there's humans, other human beings behind, like the clothes that we wear that were not treated well.
mm-hmm.
So it's just, you have to start somewhere and keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's so many days when it's like it's too hard, right? Like, or it seems too hard, it's too much, like too many, taking on too many things. But like, you just have to, I mean, as cliche as it sounds, it's like one step at a time, right?
Yeah.
Like, I heard that a lot in recovery, and
Mm-hmm.
I it sounds super cliche to me, but it's also so incredibly true. It's like, no, just take it. What is the next right thing to do?
Mm-hmm.
That you don't have to see 20 steps down the road. All
Mm-hmm.
you have to see is that what is my next move? What is my next right thing? Next right choice? And
Mm,
just go from there. Like, if you just keep doing that over and over, like sometimes it really blows my mind to like 15 years ago, where I was at 10 years ago, whatever it was, I don't know that person anymore. And
mm,
it was always like, okay, what's my next right thing to do? And that's
mm-hmm.
how I've gotten to where I am today.
That's so good.
Thanks.
That's so good. As it's interesting, I also struggled, but not with eating disorder. I had an alcohol and drug problem,
Mhm.
um, and that was 6 years ago, and that always stuck with me. As cheesy as it is, one
Yep.
day at a time.
Yeah.
The next 24 hours.
Yeah. That's all. Yeah. And when I was really early in my recovery, it was like just the next moment.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, if I can get through these next 5 minutes without doing whatever behavior I was doing, right? Like,
sure.
it doesn't matter what the behavior is. It's all that same feeling of like, oh shit, this is not going to get better, right?
Yeah,
To
yeah.
make it through 5 more minutes, right? And just try one more time,
Mm,
and eventually
so good.
get there.
And eventually, it turns into 15 years,
Exactly. Yes,
and you
exactly.
look back on it and go, "Wow,
Yeah.
one piece at a time did this."
Yep.
It's possible for
Okay.
everybody.
It really is. It really is. And I just, yeah, I think hope has always been
Hmm.
theme, a theme. I actually have the word hope tattooed on my wrist.
Really?
Yeah, see, it
I love it.
it's very, very tiny. It actually covers up I self-injured. It covers up the word fat
Mm,
that I had self-injured into
mm,
my wrist like years and years ago. And so I got that at my last treatment center. Hope
mm.
tattooed over the word fat. It's
I don't know
pretty.
if you can see my goosebumps, but they're there.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
it was a pretty intentful thing for me to do, was
I
put
love
the
it.
word hope over that, because it really, I, yeah, yeah.
Good for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, Julie, thanks for your time. I love your
Yeah,
heart.
thank you.
I
Thank
really
you.
do.
I
This
appreciate
was
that.
cool.
Likewise. This was a great
Absolutely.
conversation.
Can you,
Much
I want to give you
appreciated.
a last, like, plug your stuff. Where can people go
Thank you.
find the sustainability collection? Like, where can they get a hold of the foundation if they want to donate or be a part of it? Like, where
Yeah.
can they find it?
So the one place you can find all that information is our Instagram, which is just maryrose.boutique.
Okay.
And that will link you to the foundation, and that'll also link you to our new Hope Continues line. So if you just go to maryrose.boutique on Instagram, you'll find me. So say hi, and if you need any help with anything, like I'm here, and it's what I like to do. So
You're awesome.
thank you. Likewise, this was a great conversation.
Good. I'm glad. Thank you for everything. Keep doing what you're doing. I think
Okay.
one of the inspiring things for me just talking to you is realizing that there are people out there that are willing to be the first. I think that's
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
We got this. We
We
got
got
this.
this.
Yep.
Well,
We got
thanks,
it.
Julie. I
Yes.
hope you have a wonderful Sunday.
Thank you. I'm going to go hike with my babies. So it'll
Have
be
a great
fun.
time.
We will. We will.
Alrighty. Take care, Julie.
Bye.
Bye.